You'll see no plays being made from both players, and yeah, right away, Bristleback not finding, getting that armor also, intact. But Mist of Avernus coming down right away. Lane 1, not many creeps, not many bodies on the board right now, but because lane 1 priority is so important, there's going to be, Lifecoach is going to choose to go into that lane 1 instead. Lose a proc maybe on lane 3, but now we see Bronze Legionnaire coming down instead, and there is a trade between Phantom Assassin and Legion Commander in the third lane.
Lifecoach getting a little bit of a board presence there in the third lane with the Bronze Legionnaire and the extra melee creep. We see Mist of Avernus being deployed on the first lane. Very important card. Extremely impactful if you play it turn 1, as the snowball factor is real. And we're going to see Lich being deployed onto the second lane. Okay, Lifecoach.
There's a high roll that could go in front of Axe.
Okay, he's going for it.
And
punished.
He loses it, so Drow is probably going to die this turn. There are no items that Lifecoach has bought. He did buy one item, the Traveler's Cloak, so there is a chance to save the Drow Ranger in this case. There is also a gank, though.
An Ugly Vandal on curve, which he opts to do. Attack, but it does lock Gameking out of a play here. We see a little imp here, very spooked by this duel, as Axe is going to take advantage of the combination with Drow Ranger and Mist of Avernus to get that 9 attack and one-shot Lich with that very powerful duel, turn 2.
And Bronze Legionnaire is still available because it's a 2-mana play. It's surprising, but it's very true.
Yeah.
It's going to trade with the Ugly Vandal, block some of that direct damage that Red-Black wants to go for in this matchup. And that was a pretty good lane 1 turn for Lifecoach.
Yeah, most definitely. You guys saw the power of Mist of Avernus right there. Turn 1 Mist of Avernus is so good. We do not see Salamania's Favor. This is the first time these two have faced, and Lifecoach does not have Salamania's Favor available to him on curve, but he does have Mist of Avernus, which is, you can make a debate. It's just as impactful when obtained early on in the match. 4 heroes in lane 1 with Mist of Avernus. Well, the Gameking only sends Phantom Assassin in there. That lane 1 is gonna get nasty very quickly here.
I think this might be just a threat to the Ancient, also maybe trying to draw into a Salamania's Favor that would give him the Time of Triumph for next turn. He has it in hand already, so possibly a correct draw here could.
Of his hand, this item right here, but he needs an opening for it, which is why he's going to opt to go for gank onto that Drow Ranger, clearing it, enabling Axe to go face, and potentially equipping that Magic Maul onto Axe. Gameking does have presence there with a hero, but Lifecoach has...
The trade with the creep really is going to be his main option also.
Nice play there by Lifecoach, recognizing that this card is pretty dead, and that the Mist of Avernus there is actually going to go down to the Magic Maul. So it was a pretty advanced play. He used Smash Defenses on his own improvement to cycle through his deck.
To be able to use that card against your opponent. You already know the deck list, so there's no surprise there. And that's one of the things with open deck lists as well. You kind of know your opponent doesn't have an improvement, so you can kind of play around that in that sense.
Ooh, we see a Blink Dagger onto Legion Commander right there to move over to the second lane, enabling the Phantom Assassin to live, but he has such strong presence on that first lane. He threatens 22 damage, 26 with the no more Mist of Avernus, never mind. But this Blink Dagger enables his Legion Commander to one-shot Bristleback. And Gameking has no way to stop this. He's lost control of the second lane, the second and the first lane. This is looking really rough for Gameking, especially considering in this matchup, Red-Black tends to have the upper hand.
Obviously not taking damage from the Bronze Legionnaire and also killing your opponent's creep, but in this case it might be too little too late. The first lane is down to 14 HP, so there is a chance to maybe win that lane and take over now that Mist isn't really present, and Lich could end up looking to go first lane or even the third lane to try and race that down, but it is looking a little bit tough for Gameking. There is no ramp, at least from Lifecoach. We mentioned that was going to be a vital point in this matchup.
Well, this lane is looking definitely very scary, but more stabilized. Definitely more
Chain Frost. Double Chain Frost will help so much next turn.
Yeah, that'll be super strong. It won't do much to Axe, but it will destroy everything else.
This Phantom Assassin dying this turn might be, very important because Lich will maybe survive next turn. He'll be available, but with only 2 black heroes in this red-black deck, sometimes you see 3 black heroes with Bounty Hunter and more of a gold generation deck with Fog Mines and Payday, but in this case,
with it, I definitely expect gank here.
My prey doesn't have
definitely expecting gank.
At this point, it would not die, but if she does end up ganking the Axe, for example, it's not going to work out. So Treant Protector, it helps by killing a hero while also taking enough damage to still stay alive in this position to soak up that damage from not only the Beastmaster, but also the Beastmaster's pet, let's call him, which would definitely be a problem.
But this definitely, it's what you said. Ooh, the Berserker's Call.
And now instead of 9, you're taking 21. So that's how the tables turn. And already, Gameking against the ropes.
Yeah, Gameking is in massive trouble. I think a gank here onto... but the thing is, you kind of sacrifice both. It feels bad, but... Yeah, you kind of have to like take it here. I mean, he's definitely stabilized in the second lane, which is really solid for him. And he has eliminated the Rose League Druid, which would threaten a time of triumph on that second lane, first lane. It's going to come down to the second lane, pretty much. Like, this match is going to revolve around this lane, as Gameking has still not, well, he still has not been able to stabilize really well enough in the third lane here. And this duel is just very strong. Very, very strong for Lifecoach.
Yeah, both lane and 1, both, but it is looking tough.
But for newer players, it's important, like, the reason why this Legion Commander dies exactly is because that 1 armor would prevent 1 damage from... Actually, she would take 5 damage. Never mind.
So a little bit, one damage overkill, but still a kill nonetheless, which is what is important in Artifact. The hero will die in the end, and...
Gameking's deployment, because obviously he has to know where Bristleback goes, but the fact that Bristleback went on to lane 2 here...
2 lethal, there's only 21 health on that last tower. Oh, it's going to be overkill, 21 damage, only 6 damage needed to take the tower down. Blink Dagger on the axe is the most the most attack you can get on that last tower, and he probably will break that. I mean, there's no reason not to.
He has no answer to it. He has no Berserker's Call, no duel. Oh, but he's going to the second lane instead. Interesting.
That is very interesting. I think you might have had a lethal in lane 3 unless you get very unlucky arrows.
But I mean, he wasn't banking on that Legion Commander living, I think. That's the thing. Like, we can see the hand, obviously, but Lifecoach is making sure. I think he's playing very safe, and I like that. Very threatened on lane 2 and 3. I love how Lifecoach is dispersing his threats across these 2 lanes, not overcommitting to any of them.
He has 2 Spring the Trap, so both copies plus the Drought Ranger attack, which will be more than enough damage to take the tower down, even if there are arrows that curve towards the Bronze Legionnaire and the creep there. Unless of course, Bristleback gets a good matchup.
Gotta edge yourself there. We see the Blink Dagger onto the Bristleback, who's potentially. I mean, it has to spawn. Imagine if it spawns in front of the melee creep. That would be that would be devastating for Gameking right here. We'll see though. That's all the movement he has. Oh, it's still. Oh no! Why did I? Where's anything? Oh man! Oh, you can see Gameking's expression. Oh boy!
And we're gonna see Spring the Trap coming down. 10 more attack. No chance to curve in because they're going to be on the outer edges of this much wider board. And
oh no, not like this.
It will guarantee the game win here for Lifecoach. Again, like we said, no black heroes to stop this. And here's the concede. It looks like it's going to be a concede from Gameking right away. And Lifecoach takes the first game of this series.
Dominant.
1-0.
Dominant performance. Gameking is with his back against the wall. He has to win. He has to pull a reverse sweep against Lifecoach if he wants to stay in this tournament, because there are 2 black heroes and you want to disperse your black heroes throughout the 3 lanes. There we see the Mist of Avernus turn 1 once more onto the first lane, telegraphing a little bit that Lifecoach may prioritize that first lane regardless of that initial advantage for Gameking. But this time, not only does he have a turn 1.
Does it curve? Oh, it doesn't curve. It would have been a kill on Legion Commander, but in this case, attack straight to towers, so no RNG luck there for Gameking, and instead, and obviously here, there is no chance to curve because there's a creep in front. So I think Lifecoach winning that Bronze Legionnaire battle, being able to reset a creep, and just, maybe keep that going for the next turn is going to be huge.
Stolhawk Cloak has to say something about it. There's the Stolhawk Elite, and there's the second gank being drawn for Gameking right there.
Obviously, with you don't have initiative, never mind. So instead, Drought Ranger is able to play that mana and use that mana effectively this turn, so the gank loses value. If you're able to stop the mana being played, it gets a lot more value because you were able to stop a card like Unearthed Secrets coming down and also kill the Drought, but still, I think it is still worth it.
There it is. Unfortunate that Phantom Assassin is going to go down due to the Mist of Avernus right here, as you said. He opts to go for the Unearthed Secrets instead of the Salaminish Favor. Even though I was talking about, how good turn 2 Salaminish Favor is, you're not really in a rush to play it here.
I think if you just show it, I think it'll do a good enough job.
Sorry about that.
Gank is still available for Lich as well, and he is going to go kill that Legion Commander and just make sure there's no plays available for Lifecoach in this turn here and try and take over this lane.
Oh, this gank is so good.
It saves the Bristleback as well and pushes through a ton of damage on tower to really try and, put Lifecoach on a clock and say,
the +1 attack will make it so that it can finish off the opposing axe, because both of these axes are going to live on by 1. So that extra 1 attack does make a huge difference. So another reasoning for going for that gank play there, even though he did lose Phantom Assassin in the process.
Gameking had the chance to play maybe the Viscous Nasal Goo to kill that axe in the 3rd lane, but instead decided to trade his Stonehall Elite.
2 versus 5, and these 5s are getting thicker and thicker.
And this, I think, has to be...
Oh, boy. This Sell 'em in his favor cannot be countered unless Gameking can create an opening. But he's opted to play Sell 'em in his favor onto... would be absolutely key to be able to get a dual kill, as a Legion Commander is able to one-shot an opposing Legion Commander after having a Blink Dagger equipped onto it. The +2 attack makes it so that she deals 7 damage with the initial hit and 1 damage with the Retaliate, getting an exact kill.
Tower damage to get lethal this turn. I think, personally, it's not worth it, especially in this case. You don't have a TP scroll to get your heroes out of here anyway, but Gameking is going to go for it anyway.
You draw another one.
That is true.
So I guess that makes up for it. He also has Berserker's Call in hand. I think he can afford to play this aggressive duel here and look to get over 2 damage lethal on this 2nd tower. Now he's just got to defend the 1st and the 3rd. The 3rd is threatening with an early time of triumph. And oh my god, Phantom Assassin is the only thing. Oh, and this Spring the Trap on the 1st lane with Mist of Avernus and Drought incoming the next turn. Those are going to have 6 attack each. This lane is going to rely on the blink from that, but then unless he draws into an initiative proc, he will lose initiative on the 3rd lane. Time of Triumph will happen, and I just don't know how Gameking can stop this. Don't play anything. Preserve initiative, and then go for the Time of Triumph onto the 3rd lane. I think that's what we're going to see from Lifecoach right here.
If he does duel the Treant Protector as well.
If he duel the Beastmaster, yeah, there it is. I think we're definitely going to see a pass here. He preserves initiative, exactly. You preserve initiative, you have Gust, you have Time of Triumph, like, you just do not give that up. We see no initiative procs here for Gameking, and this Time of Triumph is going to seal the deal for life.
Cards that are 5-6 mana to cards that are 7 to 8 mana. We see it a lot with signature cards as well, and with Time of Triumph specifically. It means that Gameking is, going to have a very hard time winning this match. Right away, we're going to see all the red arrows appear on Gameking's side of the board. Everything's going to get wiped out, and Gameking just doesn't have an option here, really, to do anything. Berserker's Call is useless. Duel is fairly useless because there's so much armor on all of Lifecoach's heroes now.
He's losing everything. He has to at least try to slow him down. But once these 2 heroes die, I don't see a world in which he has to duel here. I think, perhaps onto this. He has to deny as much damage as possible. But even if that is the case, I just don't think he can slow this down. And his only chance is to find a way to get lethal onto that second lane, onto the Ancient. But he does not run the likes of Disciple of Nevermore. He does not run the Oath. He has no way to double his damage output onto that lane.
And if you're looking at lane 1, there's a much better chance of an Ancient race there, where you have Mist and an incredibly wide board.
Oh, man.
With Beastmaster's ability also available to widen it even more on a 2-turn timer. So even if you're able to stop lane 3 for this next turn.
32 damage on the 1st tower, none on the 3rd. Gameking has only been able to take 1 tower and hasn't been able to scratch the other 2. As we see 50 damage, this Mist of Avernus just being incredible this game. Incredible as his entire series, really. And there's just no out. He already has lethal on this side of the board. And on top of that, we do see Primal Roar, which cannot really be applied here. But Spring the Trap can be played on this lane. Blank Dagger, like, with the Call the Wild proc, this game is over. This game is so over. What a dominant, absolute dominant performance by Lifecoach here. Just so much more dominant than the other game, which is interesting because he did not really rely on Sell 'em in his favor as much, even though it was very key in this one, right? Being able to get him that Time of Triumph. But that Mist of Avernus, the MVP of this series for sure. We're going to see double blink onto the 3rd lane, and there's just no way in hell Gameking can stop this.
You could potentially see a blink into the 2nd lane if you respect the fact that there's some slim chance.
He doesn't go for it. Is he maybe going to try to blink to the 2nd lane?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I think
and
it
then
might
play
be...
Spring the Trap from there. Yeah. I think that's, he has to. He doesn't know. He can't be so sure, right? He definitely would not want to lose the match to that. So it's definitely the safer approach here.
The only out Gameking might... He's not going to blink anything.
Blink. Oh, okay.
That is interesting, considering there was I think an overkill in lane 1 where you have so many units and you're gonna.
I mean, you're gonna kill here anyways, right? But why not play? Why play that Mist of Avernus here? Makes no sense, right? Like, he's already gonna get him down. Yeah, that was a weird.
You can maybe expect the Legion and Phantom Assassin next turn to do something to that lane, but it would definitely not be enough. And even then, we're winning lane 3 anyway, so. I'm going to say that is strange. I think there's a big consideration to either play Spring the Trap or at the very least blink a hero to this last lane or to the second lane to try and stop a possible kill.
And Gameking did not play Spring the Trap from his own second lane to try to block this lane here. And that's all she wrote. Lifecoach with the dominant 2-0 victory over Gameking, advancing to the next stage of this tournament and really solidifying his position here, establishing how dominant this deck can be over red-black. And I'm very interested to see how his red-green list will face off against, the plethora of red-blacks that we'll see throughout this tournament, I feel.